Transformacja i zmiana. Dlaczego to najlepszy czas, aby teraz firmy i biznes właśnie się tym zajęły? O tym za chwilę w rozmowie. Moim Państwa gościem jest Paul Pendergrastem z Accenture. Hello.
Good morning. Delighted to be here.
Why is now the right time for companies to undergo a transformation to increase competitiveness?
Look, it's always important to undergo transformation, but now is even more critical time after a period of what we call permacrisis from a report that we recently released on CFO Future Study. You know, we've had COVID, we've had the Suez, we've had the Ukraine crisis, and we've had a real cost of living. So organizations are really being challenged on margin and profitability, and they need to undertake a reinvention of their operating model, which means digitizing processes, which means embracing analytics and embracing Gen AI. And that's why it's so perfect to what we're building out here and celebrating at ABSL in Poland, because really it's the heart of the talent here to embrace and move this forward. And transformation is critical now, not just for companies in Poland, but a lot of the companies that have actually regional centers here, right? And really the ABSL is setting up to power that in terms of drive the transformation. Number one, fueling with talent. Number two, expanding the range of services provided from the service centers. And number three, leveraging technology, analytics to actually drive that forward. So now is the time for transformation, and certainly Poland is a great place to accelerate it.
Okay, time for transformation. And who are the reinventors and why do they represent the future of business?
Yeah, so yet again, we did some research a couple of years ago. It's around total enterprise reinvention. And within that, we classified, as we surveyed over 1,000, top Fortune companies, of which there are a number from Poland, and we identified three classifications. There are ones who just want to sustain, who don't see the need to reinvent how they operate in terms of the processes, the services they provide, the talent that they have, and that's that's reflected in smaller growth rates. Then we have the ones who are actually marginal reinventors. They will do incremental. But the total reinventors are the ones who every 2 to 3 years look at their go-to-market. Do we have the right portfolio of products? Actually, are we engaging with our clients in the right way? Are we leveraging in technology, analytics, Gen AI, automation to actually reinvent what we do and how we go to market? Some of those reinventors actually will change their whole portfolio of products. They may move from being manufacturing to actually software developers, and we're seeing some of that based here. So the reinventors are characterized with people who will challenge their operating model, their technology, their processes, and they're reflected in a higher growth rate. And we are delighted, we Accenture, to be able to work with those reinventors. Number one, we can help them accelerate, but number two, we can take those learnings and then leverage with other organizations as well.
What is the operational maturity and how can campaigns achieve it?
Yeah. So when we talk about operational maturity, which is very relevant and spoken a lot about here at ABSL, is what is the infrastructure and capabilities we need to set up for success? So one topic that has been discussed already today is global process owners. So how do I actually ensure I've got the right infrastructure in place in terms of the governance for end-to-end process, underpinned with the right policies, with the right data. And if we have that set up, then we can really execute at pace and with agility. The other key thing is around service management, because it's really important to be able to focus on continuous improvement. Service management enables you to understand what's the performance today, what's the backlog, and what's the direction that we're heading in. And in essence, that operational maturity is the underpins to support that accordingly. So organizations with strong operational maturity are able to understand, what are the trends, where are we going, and then put in the corrective actions to remediate. And interestingly, those companies have operational maturity and are reflected with higher performance are also reinventors.
Okay. What guidelines should campaigns follow when undergoing a transformation?
Yeah, I think, so transformation is a big phrase. So the key thing really is understanding, well, what is my North Star? Where am I going to be? Number two, then what are the components to get that? So there'll be an element around talent in terms of the people, the skills. There'll be an element around the technology enablers in terms of what would change to get that North Star. Also process. We talked about GPOs. And then data. And then as you look at that North Star, that's then you navigate along those different parameters. The other key thing is putting the governance in place to be very clear. How are we actually steering where we're heading to? How are we measuring progress against that? And what are the issues and challenges to be addressed? And I think that's why what we're talking about at ABSL and celebrating here in Poland, it can set up. Because if we have the right operational maturity, if we've got the parameters and we've got the right talent to set this up, this can be really heartblood for it. And if we look at GBS leaders, that's what we're really talking about here at ABSL, is actually the leadership to transform. It's not about executing the processes. It's about how do we put the right infrastructure in place in terms of leveraging data, applied intelligence, Gen AI, and analytics to actually drive that transformation in a sustained manner. And I think that's the key thing that sets us up here for our service centers in Poland as we look to play and contribute more on a global stage.
And the last question, that AI helps the companies for transformation with transformation?
Does it help companies?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it does. How? No, great point. So number one, talent. A talent to be able to, number one, set the direction, the North Star, but number two, then be able to execute with the right skills and capabilities, be they technical skills, be they process, be they service, etc. And that's the key thing. So if you think about then how is actually having the right mix and agility of people who can then play in a global stage and showing that leadership to direct accordingly.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Moim Państwa gościem był Paul Pendergrast z Accenture.